the Vanarama National League. Now, I do have to apologise for being slightly late. I've been very busy. My computer's been playing up, etc. It's just not particularly been my day, and I'd probably say my week, to be honest. Of course, Paul has abandoned us to go on holiday to Orlando. I'm only joking, but Paul won't be joining us tonight. And unfortunately, I don't have somebody by my side to speak about all the latest news surrounding the National League, because it would be a great opportunity to get someone else's take. But nevertheless, it's an opportunity for you guys to let us know your thoughts. The live chat is crucial more than ever tonight, because, of course, I don't want to be talking to myself for the full hour or so, because, of course, it will probably be a bit of a shorter show tonight. Anyway, without any further ado, let's have a look at what you guys have been saying. This might be quite slow as well, because unfortunately my computer's not working. I'm just going to check that everything's going okay. Can everyone just put in the live chat if they can hear me fine and everything's okay? Is my mic working and stuff? If not, then I'll try fix that soon. We'll try and get all the stuff on. Anyway, let's have a look at the live chat. Someone's come in and said, get on it. And then we've had Ian has come in and joined us tonight. Evening all. I'm assuming Mr. Luke won't be happy with the departure of their manager to Franchise FC. We'll be speaking about that very shortly. Let us know your thoughts on that. Was it a shock to you? I have to say it was a bit of a shock to me. I don't particularly like seeing managers go like 16 games into. I can understand it if the team's not playing well or it's the end of the season and you've done all you can, but it just doesn't sit right with me when a manager leaves 16 games into the season when your side probably had one of the best starts of the season that it's had in a very, very long time, and you've been building towards a season like this for a long time. So, yeah, for me, it doesn't particularly sit right with me, that. I think if I was a Gateshead fan, I would be gutted. But we're going to come on to them shortly and about potential replacements and if they do need one. I'm going to give my thoughts on if they do need one shortly. Stingem has come in, who's our Maidstone fan. He's in saying with the waving sign, welcome to the stream. And then we've had Dave, evening all, welcome Dave. Another David, who's our Maidenhead fan, who likes to tune in. Evening all, welcome to the stream. Of course, you guys have got Barnet this weekend, I believe away as well. Hello, gents. Hope you are well. I was really tempted not to join the live stream after the amount of pain I suffered on Wednesday night, but you're still here, and that is proper dedication. Kezza's in and said hello. Welcome, Kezza, to the stream. It's good to see that you're here. A lot Oldham aside we need to talk about as well, with Mellon being appointed. Get your thoughts in on that. Was he the right man? I'm going to give my thoughts on that very shortly. We've had Chris who's come in, and he said, good morning from Melbourne. Really looking forward to the non-NW derby. Latics v Rochdale start of the climb up with Mickey. So I believe you must be an Oldham fan then. I for some reason, I don't want to disrespect you, but I always had a feeling you were a Wrexham supporter. But yeah, that's going to be a big game. Probably, I would say the game of the game week. I know Oldham, they're in kind of similar positions, I believe. So that should be a bit of an interesting one, as well as it just being a particularly good derby. And then we've had John who's come in and said, evening everyone, welcome John. Hopefully Dagenham can improve this weekend when they take on Woking. Ash has come in, who I believe is an Aldershot fan. Good evening all, back in onto the live chat after a few busy Thursday evenings. No problem, Ash, thank you for tuning in tonight. And then we've had Bobby's in the live stream. We've had Callum is in the live stream tonight. Welcome, Callum, to the stream. He's put, as a Chester fan, I'm glad Gateshead manager has gone for this game. Still expecting a tough game. Yeah, I have to say, I think my prediction might have changed a little bit after that news. And then we've had John Twin said, we can hear you. That's good to hear. No, it's John who's the Wrexham fan. Good. And then we've had Robert has come in and he said, okay. Paul's come in and said, Messi Gaffer is listening. That's my coach at football for anyone who doesn't know what he's on about there. And then we've had, pardon me, should Rochdale give us more tickets for Saturday? Maybe something you should ask Rochdale fans who might be tuning in tonight. I always like to see as many fans there as possible. But I think, I can't really have a say on that because I'm not in charge of safety, etc. And we've had Tom Hylick, not sure if you've heard, but we've signed John Benton from Ebbsfleet, and by sounds of it, he's a good attacker. We'll have a look at him shortly. I know Ebbsfleet have just taken Barnet to a replay, didn't they, I believe? And then Kez has come in and said, evening Ian, wouldn't say excited is the word, but should be good. Joe is in tonight. Everyone's in tonight. I think it was an opportunity Williamson couldn't pass up. They've got Elliot Story and Magne in charge who will keep things turning over with Williamson, etc., with remote support. I believe Gateshead must have got some compensation for that as well. So every silver lining then. And I'm going to speak a bit about Elliot and do I think he's the correct man to take a, still be with this Gateshead side shortly. And then we've had Derek. Hi, Luke. Glad I didn't miss the stream. What did you think of the KSI Tommy Fury fight? Because personally, it wasn't very good, in my opinion. It was a disgrace, a waste of money. Actually, no, there was. It might have been yourself if you're a Rochdale fan. A Rochdale fan helped me out. I won't say why, but he managed to get me the stream for that game. So thank you very, very much to him. I believe it could have been you, actually. But no, I think that was a bit of a disgrace, to be honest. I think both fights were. I thought KSI deserved to win. Personally, I thought the fight was actually poor overall. I don't think there was any standout, but for me, I'd probably say KSI won that fight to people who were interested. But I think it's a bit of a rip-off. You never see knockouts in these YouTube fights, do you? And that's the problem. When you watch boxing, for me, it's about seeing that knockout. Might be a bit dark, but it's something you want to see where it doesn't go the whole way. And every time they're fighting, Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul, it went the whole way. Same with this KSI fight. It was built up. I was looking forward to it. And to be honest, next time there's one of these fights, which I'd describe as an expedition, I don't think I'll be purchasing it, to be honest. And then we've had... yes, we should have opened more of the away end because you were all so well behaved against Chesterfield. To be fair, he's correct there. And then we've had Ashley's come in. Are you going to the Rochdale v Oldham game, Luke? I'm not sure, to be honest. It's a game I want to get to, but Halifax are at home. And I'm tempted. I'd like to do a vlog on that game. It'd be a good game to vlog and get some Oldham and Rochdale fans' opinions. But we'll have to see. I'll let you know probably by tomorrow evening if I'll be going to that game or not. I'll put something on my Twitter. Anyway, get all your thoughts in on Williamson leaving. We're going to speak about Mellon tonight. I'll try get it up here because I've got the order here of what I was supposed to speak on. I'm very unorganised when I don't have Paul here, my sidekick. We'll have a look then at what we had on the table for tonight. So the first one we'll start with Williamson out. I basically mentioned that I've basically spoke on what I think of that. Lloyd's just joined the chat. Welcome, Lloyd. And Hayden's also joined in. Everyone seems to be tuning in now. But basically, this is just my thoughts on the situation. Rob Elliott, for me, I think I personally feel he should stay and probably be a point. It's a good opportunity for him to get involved in proper management, and you don't want to change that style of play. I can't see with the players playing under Elliott, I don't think the players are going to change the style of play in any way. I don't think he's going to try tamper with that, which is a good thing because it's been effective so far. And it's a good opportunity for Elliott to proper get involved and get his teeth stuck into full-time management. And he's got that opportunity now. He probably didn't expect it to come this early, but it's a good opportunity for him. Williamson has left the club in good hands. They've got compensation for him, which I believe they should have done. And then he can obviously use that money to bring in more players. They've not lost anyone as of yet. There's going to be a question about that, whether Williamson's going to try bring players in from Gateshead, which I would expect there will be one or two names there, some that I have in the back of my mind, which they will be looking at. But yeah, someone's coming, why is Mike Williamson joined franchise FC? Who knows? It's not a club I'm a particularly big fan of, to be honest. But yeah, so yeah, it is a big loss. I think anyone is a big loss, but they've been left in good hands. Elliot's clearly made a difference behind the scenes as well there, and it's a good opportunity for him in full-time management. Full-time management, I do believe. Let us know your thoughts on that. Would there be any managers? I can't think off the top of my head who would be a good fit for them there, who they could realistically get. To be honest, the only one I can think of at this level off the top of my head, it would be Dal McMahon. And I think Lee Bradbury as well, he's available, but it's a long way that. If they were to try look for a new appointment, I could see them getting some from the youth ranks in like the Premiership or the Championship, or someone from the Newcastle youth setup. But yeah, I think Rob Elliott's the correct man for the job. To be honest, it's a good opportunity for him there. Right then, we will move on to the next one then now. Mellon to Oldham. This is when the Oldham fans all start to get involved. Unsworth as well, someone said. No, maybe not a good idea. How will Mellon do at Oldham? Now, my initial thoughts when I was looking at all the rumours for Oldham, I looked at the Cowley brothers, and they would probably be my number one, because they've been here and they've done it. A bit like Mellon. They did it with Lincoln. They had an FA Cup run with them. They took them up the leagues, up to League One, left them in a very, very healthy position in the Football League. And I see that as an opportunity for Oldham. That's probably where they want to be. They want to be in at least League One in a healthy position. And to be honest, I were a little disappointed maybe with Mellon. I thought that maybe they could have gone down a different route, maybe of looking at Phil Parkinson at Altrincham. But then again, was that a bit unrealistic there? Because he's settled at Altrincham. Altrincham are doing very well in the league, probably even better than Gateshead to a certain extent. Why would he leave there? The only reason is it makes geographical sense. You're staying in the same location because it's still Greater Manchester, and you're basically just getting paid 4 or 5 times the wage, to be honest. But then again, I can see why he didn't go for the Oldham job. Or if even Oldham were interested, we don't actually know on that. He was just rumoured. But Mike Williamson, I think, would have been a good one with the players that they've got. What we've got to remember is this Oldham side, the actual side that they've got. Yes, they're a big club at this level, but they're Unsworth's players who he's brought in the summer. So who's going to fit those players? And I'd probably say Mellon does fit these type of players. He's worked with Norwood. He's worked with Tollett in the past. He's worked with Hogan in the past. Yes, it's good. He's proven in the past he can get promoted with Tranmere. The only problem I will have is his football is very, very similar to Unsworth. It's hoofball football, and it worked with Tranmere about 5 or 6 years ago. But the league's progressed a lot since then, as we're well aware. And unless you are extremely good at that and are an extremely big side like Wrexham were, it's very hard to get promoted out of this league playing that style of football. And I look at this Oldham side, and I don't think overall there's a good enough squad that's prepared to get them out of this league. They've got two good strikers in Reid and Norwood. They've got a fairly settled defence. You've got Lundstrom coming back. Yes, I think overall it's a decent team. Going forward, I would probably say they're bang on for the playoffs, and I still think they are, but there's still weaknesses, and they still need to bring in more players, in my opinion. We'll have a look at what you guys have been saying. Heed Army Podcast is in. They've put hello. See you in Liverpool for a drink soon. There's the Content Awards coming up. Cheers to everyone that voted for me for that. And then we've had see what people are saying. A lot of people in tonight, which is great to see. I announced it's quite short notice, and it's just myself, which shows that people fairly interested in listening from myself. Oldham didn't want to spend the money bringing in someone from another club. Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it? You know, you having to spend that money, and yeah, I can see why on that one. Trying to think if there's any other managers. Neil Warner could be one that I would have loved. I think would have been interesting and added to this league, but was that a realistic target? Probably not, because there's a lot of opportunities in the EFL for himself. You know, I think Gillingham needed a manager. Bradford I think they still do need a manager, Bradford. We'll have a look. And then we've done Mellner's credentials. Hope he plays attacking football. Fans will not give him too long historically to settle in there. That's the problem I've got, is his style of football isn't what Oldham fans, I think, are demanding nowadays. And they're not just going to become a force overnight, since I wouldn't expect anyway, since he's been appointed. It's going to take time for his style of football to be effective. And once fans start to get on the backs of players, in my opinion, it's over, to be honest, for them, like it was with Unsworth. We'll move on then anyway from that. What was the final topic we've got? Carter to Dorking. Charlie Carter has gone from Eastleigh to Dorking. I think Charlie Carter was probably Eastleigh's, I'd probably say, player of the season last season, maybe along with Harper, I think it is. Very, very good, I think, and I think he'll add to that Dorking side. It shows that Dorking are going places, to be honest, and it shows that Mark White means business. You know, you can tell he likes to keep a squad together every single season, but it's shown that they've got the capabilities to attract these top, well-known National League players. Yes, that's all I can really say on that. I think he'll add a lot to that Dorking side. We could tell he wasn't happy, and there has been some results of recent where Dorking, Mark White particularly, won't be happy with that. For example, the Barnet game, you may look back to, they was in the lead. It felt like they were comfortable, and I think if they blew it, to be honest. I think they were 2-0 up at the time, and I do think they blew it. They then lost to Kidderminster, who I don't think at the time had won away from home all season. At least they were struggling themselves, and they still are. And then they go and get knocked out of the FA Cup to Horsham, when we know full well that was one of Mark White's major targets, was to get Dorking in the FA Cup first round for the first time in their history. And he said the players let them down and the players let the fans down, and I agree with that. And since then, he's brought in another player when it's starting to not go well there. And it shows that Dorking do have the capabilities to bring in these players, and that they have got ambitions for this season. They don't want to be a side that's just happy to survive in the division. I think Mark does want to see improvement from the previous season, and we know that's the way that they work at Dorking. They're not a side that, yep, we're happy, we're stable in this division now. We probably feel like we're quite comfortable, we're settled, we'll go for the EFL in a couple of years. It's like, no, now we want to get in the playoffs. We want to get as close to the playoffs as possible. And it'll be the same every season. And I do genuinely think every season we're going to see more and more improvement. This season, I reckon it'll be probably mid-table, higher than last season. Next season will be when they're probably trying to realistically get into those playoff spots. I believe we're probably at the right time now to get on with the predictions. Remember to keep your thoughts coming in. Shall we mention Mark's interview? Yeah, it was funny. I know he's got an appearance on TalkSport because of it, hasn't he? I've seen. Yeah, to be honest, I think it's something that all of us who have managers probably want, and I understand why other managers don't, because they don't own the football club. He owns the football club. He can literally say whatever he wants within reason. And, you know, I think for him to say, I'm not taking any responsibility for that, I think shows that you know, he particularly doesn't. And he was furious because they'd let the fans down, and they did blow it. You know, Halifax lost to Marine, and our manager didn't, and I understand why, but our manager didn't go out and hold his hands up. You know, I think to a certain extent, he kind of protected the players. That's something that we're going to come on to shortly as well. We're going to speak about Halifax and every other club in the division as well. Right then, we'll get this up then. Just while I am doing this, please remember to like and subscribe. Paul has sent in his predictions. So I'm going to get them up as we go on. And next week, I'm going to catch up on all the predictions league. I believe at the moment I'm still like a point in front, I believe. I think I won last game week. So please remember to like and subscribe. We're going to get this up now, if we can, if it actually works. I think that should be okay. Yeah, there we go. Right then. So let's one final look at what you guys have been saying, and then we'll get into it. So Ian's coming, John H. I'm sure they could, but you don't know what they've agreed behind closed doors. Could be they see it as a step up for him and wanted to let him make his own mind up. Yeah, we'll move on then to the predictions. Chesterfield still lead the way by 3 points. Barnet still there. The top 3, I don't believe, has changed in the last week. Hartlepool back in the playoffs now after they beat Eastleigh. It's hard to remember because it was 2 weeks ago. And even Halifax, yes, we got knocked out of the FA Cup, but we'd prior to that, we'd won back-to-back away games, and we're actually only a point off the playoffs. And you would say usually Kidderminster at home, it's quite I wouldn't say an easy win, but it's certainly a winnable game. And compared to when we look at who Hartlepool have got when they have to travel all the way down to Aldershot, who are very good at home this season. Oldham and Rochdale, a point separates them. So, and both sides will have ambitions about getting into the playoffs this season. Dorking, Woking, down there, Wealdstone, Ebbsfleet, York, Bournemouth, Southend, Oxford, and probably one of the most I wouldn't say underwhelming because I probably expected this to a certain extent with the recruitment, but one of the most disappointing teams this season would of course be Dagenham, still in the relegation places at the moment. And I'd go as far to say Fylde have been very underwhelming because they're a side that had ambitions about not only surviving in this league, but having a push for the playoffs this season. And I think at the moment they just take safety, to be honest, this season. Chesterfield have scored the most goals, followed by Gateshead. Behind them, we've got Barnet and Altrincham. Surprising to see. So I never knew that, but Solihull have actually scored a fair amount of goals themselves as well. We're going to get on with the games, though. Let's start things off. Fylde versus Ebbsfleet. Both have the leakiest defences in the league. Fylde have the leakiest, I believe, and Ebbsfleet have the second leakiest in the league. Fylde have won one match in 13. Ebbsfleet are struggling themselves. They've just been knocked out of the FA Cup. They had a replay versus Slough. That's something we have to take into consideration as well, is the fact that now they had to play on Tuesday night, and now they're demanding from Tuesday to Saturday, where Fylde have had a full week off. And also what you've got to think about with Ebbsfleet is they also got knocked out of that competition to Slough, and that must do just shred your confidence, I'd probably say, to be honest. Get your predictions in on this game. Fylde have the worst home record in the division now. I think Ebbsfleet have the second worst away. But both sides between them do score a fair amount of goals. That's something that I will say. Fylde are still scoring a fair amount of goals. Ebbsfleet, I think, to be fair, still are. They need to get Polian back scoring. He hasn't scored since early September. He was on fire for the first few weeks, and ever since he's kind of fallen off a cliff. But for this game, both have leaky defences, both fairly decent going forward for the position that they're both in. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Let's have a look at what you guys have been predicting then. They're all coming in now. Get all your predictions in, guys. Have a look. Get it up here. Right then, Ash has come in. 3-1 to Ebbsfleet, 2-0 Ebbsfleet, 2-1 Fylde, 4-1 Fylde. Blumminette. 3-1 Fylde, 3-2 Fylde, 3-3, 3-2 Ebbsfleet, 2-2. Quite a mix of. It's quite an unpredictable game. That's something I will say. Maybe I have had a bit of a cop out. 2-2 there. Dale v Latics, the flat cap El Clasico. We'll move on to the next one then now. Keep your predictions coming in on that game if you haven't put yours in yet. But we are going to move on to Aldershot versus Ebbsfleet. Now, this is quite an interesting game. Aldershot, I think, can get into the playoffs if they win this game. Aldershot sitting 9th, Hartlepool sitting 7th. Yeah, it's a tight game. It's a hard one to call. We look at the home form here. I believe Aldershot should be quite high up, fairly. I thought they were higher than that, to be fair. I don't believe maybe they are good away from home, actually. No, it's what I thought. Hartlepool 16th away from home. Hartlepool got knocked out of the FA Cup, so they need a reaction. They haven't been doing too well in the league either. Recently, they had a very good start to the season. That's probably what saved them and why they're still in the playoffs, because they had a good start and then they managed to beat Eastleigh. But Aldershot, I think, are a side that I think have the capabilities to really try push for these playoffs. Being at home, though, Aldershot, I'm Aldershot between Hartlepool. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Scroll all the way back up. 2-2 we've got. I don't know if that was, I'm guessing that was the last game. We've had Geordie's come in and said, away the lads. And then we've had 2-1 shots, 2-1 shots, 2-1 Hartlepool, 2-0 shots, 2-2, 1-0 shots, 1-1, 3-1, 3-2 Hartlepool, 2-0, 4-2. They're all coming in. As I've got to the bottom there. A lot of people seem to be backing Aldershot, and I can see why, being at home, and Hartlepool not on the best run of form either themselves at the moment. We'll move on to the next game then. Altrincham versus Dorking. Cheers for that. Proper good timing that. Aldershot versus Dorking. Both play quite similar style of football. That's something I will say. Both like to play good football. Dorking will be dying for a reaction after that FA Cup game. And they do need to start picking up the points again. Altrincham need to keep this run of form going that they're on at the moment. Of course, they got knocked out of the FA Cup to Oldham. I think the first time. No, actually not. It's not the first time I've lost at home this season. So yeah, two good footballing sides. Two sides that are good going forward. I'd probably say Dorking. I would usually say Dorking are poor defensively, and that's where you exploit them. But they've certainly improved on that this season. We'll have a look at the standings at the moment. So Altrincham sitting in 4th, very comfortable inside the playoffs. Dorking 14th on 18 points, but we know how quickly that can change. You lose 4 or 5 games on the bounce, and you can go from literally where Halifax or Aldershot are at the moment to all the way down to the relegation zone. I know Halifax, prior to the Woking game, we'd slipped down to, I believe, 18th, where Bournemouth are at the moment. We won back-to-back games, and we've got back to a fairly good position at the moment in 8th, and a point off the playoffs. All it takes for Dorking to lose 2 games on the bounce, and they could be down there and in that relegation scrap. But yeah, 2 good footballing sides. I think it'll be a good game to watch. I think both sides will be going into this wanting to win. Dorking always have that mentality of, we're not going to go somewhere and play for a point. We're going to go somewhere and try win. Altrincham are going to see this as a winnable game, a must-win game. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Altrincham win. I think they're just slightly better, and they're probably got slightly more quality, I'd say, Altrincham, probably, to be honest, compared to Dorking at this moment in time. 9 points separates them. Let's have a look at what you guys have been saying. If we can get all the way back to the top. 4-0, 2-2, 2-2, 3-2 Dorking. 4-2 Alty wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. It's that kind of game. 2-2, 2-1, 2-1, 1-1, 3-1 Alte, 2-1 Alte, 1-1 and 3-2 Alte. Let's move on to the next game then. Barnet versus Maidenhead. I keep getting asked to predict Maidenhead to win. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. But I keep predicting... I keep getting told to predict Maidenhead to win. And like I've said, I've been criticised on it. But when you're away at Barnet, it's hard to predict Maidenhead to win, considering they're in the relegation zone at the moment and Barnet are second in the league. It is a bit of a banana skin. Maidenhead are well known to get points off the so-called better teams in this division. They've proven that even this season. Oldham, Rochdale, Chesterfield even. It's a good opportunity for Maidenhead to maybe sneak a point here at Barnet. Of course, Barnet are very good at home, have the best home record in the division, yet to be defeated at home. Yet this season, only them and Chesterfield haven't been defeated at home. And I think for this game, I'd like to think Barnet would be able to win this, but I don't think it'll be an easy game. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Barnet win. Bromley versus Oxford. I'm going to go for Bromley to win. I'll come back to those predictions on the Barnet Maidenhead game. So get those in and then get these in if you've got time. Bromley, I'm going to go for to win this game. Oxford starting to struggle a little bit at the moment. They had a tough start. Then that kind of, I think, probably enthusiasm and the buzz around the town and probably I can't even get my word out of what I'm thinking of. Probably the bounce that they had, maybe the best word after they got promotion and they managed to get a first win, kind of carried them. But I think going away to Bromley are very hard to defeat. Haven't lost in God knows how long. I think they've had one defeat in 13 games. So I think I'm going to go for Bromley to win this. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Bromley win. They don't often batter teams. You may say with the difference between the two sides in positions and points. Comfortable win. That's not how Bromley work. They just find ways to win. Next game then, we'll come to that shortly. Let's get the predictions up then. I'm going to go back. Let's go all the way up then. 1-0 Barnet, 3-0 Barnet, 3-0 Barnet, 3-1 Barnet, 2-0 Barnet, 2-0 Barnet, 1-1 from David, the Maidenhead fan. I have no love for Barnet. And then the next game, 1-0 Oxford, 2-1, Bromley 3-0, 1-0 Bromley, 1-0 Bromley, 2-1, 3-1 Bromley. Right then, next game, get your predictions in. We're going to have a look at this, see what you guys have been saying on this game. Chesterfield versus Gateshead. Chesterfield are very, very good. Gateshead, it's going to be interesting to see how they react now Williamson has gone. Was it Williamson doing all that work? Of course, he contributed significantly, but has he left the club in a place where where the team know their jobs, they know what they're doing, they go into this game with that same game plan? We'll have to see. But Chesterfield are very good at home. It's a difficult game. I think Chesterfield will get frustrated because they're not playing against a side that are going to come and defend. Gateshead are going to come and probably frustrate them by just keeping the ball. It's a different kind of frustration where you're just putting 11 men behind the ball. It's the frustration of we simply can't get the ball off it. And maybe to a certain extent, with Gateshead, you think they pass for passing's sake. But what they do is they tire the opposition, they keep the ball off them, and then when they do start to press, when they start to get frustrated and the Chesterfield home crowd will, start getting on the players' backs and you need to press them, that's when Gateshead will counter-attack, and that's where they get at them. But for me, Chesterfield are a side that will be well aware of this. Paul Cook is a brilliant manager at this level. They're very good at home. I would say, due to Williamson being gone as well, I think Chesterfield are going to go into this and probably win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chesterfield win. What have you guys been saying? Have we seen any shocks? It doesn't look like it, to be honest. We've had 2-1 to us, even though we have lost our manager team. I believe we can still play the same football we have played when we had Williamson in charge. 3-1, 17-15-0. A bet on that. I wonder if Could you even put a bet on that? 2-1 Chesterfield, 2-1 Gateshead, 1-1. 2-1 Chesterfield. Yeah, everyone's back in Chesterfield here. 2-2 here. We've had a draw. We'll move on to the next game then. Dagenham v Woking. Dagenham struggling. Woking struggling. Dagenham, I think, have the second worst home record at the moment. They're struggling for goals, Dagenham, as we can tell. Woking need to win because they're not doing very well themselves, and they're a club that are ambitious and clearly want to be in the playoffs once again after a good season last season. So honestly, based on that, how Dagenham are playing at the moment, I'm going to go for Woking to win this game away from home. Dagenham really do need to sort it out at the moment down there because that fan base, I can't imagine many people turning up to watch them in the National League South. Eastleigh v York. Both draw an awful lot of games. Eastleigh have improved and have tightened up, I think, since that 6-0 defeat to Gateshead. And maybe now some Eastleigh fans and maybe general football fans may have to give Hill a bit of credit and a bit of an apology based on how Eastleigh have been playing recently, because there was a lot of criticism about him being appointed as the interim, as the first team manager. And he's done a fairly decent job. I believe Eastleigh are just outside of the playoffs, just outside of the playoffs. I say just outside, 4 places off, but they're literally 2 points off. York drawn a lot of games. They've improved under Neil Ardley as well themselves. For this game, though, I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. Like I said, both sides draw an awful lot of games. We'll have a look at what you guys have been saying on the last 2 results. 3-0 to Woking, 2-0 Woking, 2-0 Woking, 2-1 Daggers, 2-0 Woking, 3-1 Dorking, 2-0 Woking, 2-0 Daggers, ball draw 0-0, 1-0 Daggers, 3-1 to York on the next game, Yorkies 1-0, 2-2 for the last game, 2-0 York, York to win, I'm guessing, 2-1, Eastleigh 2-1, 3-2, next game now, 3-2 Halifax. Here we go. I like Matthew's comments because he always seems to speak facts when he comes in. He's coming tonight and he said, don't think the frustration with Hill recently is mostly based on results, but transfer policy and interference as shown with Carter yesterday. Yeah. Be interesting to get your perspective on Carter leaving. Was it a fallout? Eastleigh away is one of the funniest Southern away games. One of the grounds I haven't done yet in the National League. Maybe this season. Halifax versus Kidderminster. Oh, Halifax haven't won at home since the 5th of August. Kidderminster, probably one of the worst sides in this division, can't score. Neither can Halifax at the moment, at home particularly. I'm going to be honest, I can't see us winning. 0-0. I can't actually see us winning at home. I think the only time we'd win at home is when an Oldham or a Barnet come who actually try and, I won't say try and play football because I think most sides do, but actually come into this game saying this is a must-win. I don't think many sides go away to Halifax saying, yeah, we'll take a point there, and if we catch them on the break and get the win, that's a bonus. And obviously, sometimes we've seen with Dorking, we saw with Marine, instead of getting that bonus of, we've got a replay or we've got a point, it's we've actually managed to beat them away from home because we've caught them on the break and then sat on it. Kidderminster may see this as an opportunity for them to pick up a few points and maybe even get the win. But for me, I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. To be honest, I can't see where the goals are coming from at home. Game of the week then. Rochdale versus Oldham. Before we do that, let's look at the live chat. Everyone's back in Halifax. Cheers, guys. I knew I liked you a lot. 3-2 Halifax. 2-0 Halifax. Matthew says, don't get me started. Halifax due a win. Yeah, that's something you will see. We're not going to go all season without winning another game at home. Maybe it's the kiss of death, but yeah, it's going to come at some point, and maybe Marine was the last straw, and maybe we will see some genuine improvement at home. 1-0 Halifax, 2-1, 2-0, 1-0, and then I think we've moved on to the next game. Everyone seems to be back in Oldham, 2-1, 4-1, 1-1. They're the ones so far. Get your predictions in for that game. Oldham managed to win at Altrincham away from home, and I still think it's going to take time for them to improve. Let's look at the form, though. Let's look at the table there. So that's the table, how it looks at the moment. And then let's have a look at the form. And I think maybe the heads-to-heads might say something, although it's very even. Look at Oldham. Draw, win, win. Oldham aren't losing. They've tightened up at the moment. Rochdale 1 win in 5. It's a derby day, so it's one of the. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it's literally anything can happen on a derby day. For me, I'm going to go for an Oldham win away from home. They're taking a load of fans there. I think 3,000 is it going there? 2.5, something like that, something stupid for this level, and to say they sold it out so quickly as well. Oldham are going to be proper geared up for this game. So I'm going to have to go for an Oldham win, to be honest. Rochdale not in the best of form themselves at the moment. And like I said, under the new manager, there's a new manager bounce there. Let's have a look at what you guys have been saying. 3-2 Latics, 0-0. That will be disappointing from both sides of things. 2-1, 2-1. Someone's gone back to the Halifax game and said 1-0 Kidderminster. 3.1 plus K, 4 miles away. It's still mental support though. I'd still say 2-1 to Fylde. Let's move on to the next game then. Southend v Solihull. Solihull had the first defeat of the season against Aldershot at home. It's going to be interesting to see how they react to that. We often see when sides finally do get defeated, they go on a bit of bad run of form. And I could see this happening. This isn't the type of game you want after you've been defeated at home on home turf. Going to someone like Southend, who have clearly got a massive boost at the moment after the takeover. Yes, they're short on players. That hasn't affected them yet. For me, I could see Southend winning this game. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Southend win. Let's have a look at what you guys have been saying. 2-0. And then we've had 1-1. I'll go for 200 Oldham fans and 50 Rochdale fans to be arrested. 2-2, 2-1, 3-0 Southend. I believe we're on to the last game then now. Wealdstone v Bournemouth. Maybe a derby, maybe not. Very close to between them. So maybe, I'd probably say a derby. I think it'd be classed as a derby. I get rivals and derby mixed up. I think it is a derby, yeah. Wealdstone not on the best of form. Neither are Bournemouth. Both down there. Maybe more surprised at Bournemouth. Wealdstone had a good start, but have fallen off since. And I would say better at home than they are away. So for me, I'm going to go for a Wealdstone win for this game. Bournemouth, they're not playing well at the moment at all. Yeah, I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wealdstone win. They're actually very good at home, Wealdstone, this season. Let's have a look at your final predictions. Get your final thoughts in as well. Obviously, it's a bit shorter tonight because it's just myself. And let us know where you're all heading this weekend. They're all the results. Everyone's going to be back in Wealdstone apart from Chris. Before we wrap things up, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We are, I think, 25 away prior to this live of hitting 1.5k. I think the aim probably is to get to 2,000 by the end of the season, which I believe is very realistic with the support with what's been shown recently. Let's share this to more National League supporters. There's loads out there and loads that are dying to find a podcast. And I believe this is a podcast which is, I think because of you guys, a good podcast. No, not I wouldn't say that, but a podcast where you all get to have your thoughts on one that I think is quite maybe entertaining, might be the best word, because I like to think that we introduce you guys. It's not just me talking and Paul talking for a full hour. We like to get your thoughts on it. And I think it's probably one of the only places where you really get to do that. I hope that didn't come across as arrogant. I wasn't meaning to sound like that. But yeah, so please remember to like and subscribe. 25 away or whatever it is from 1.5k. Like and also shares it out to more National League fans. It gets recommended. And then we've had someone, Collins, come and said 2-1 to Aldershot. But yeah, anyway, that most wraps it up. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight. It's brilliant to have everyone in once again. And yeah, good luck to all your sides on Saturday, apart from Kidderminster, because they're playing Halifax. But yeah, good luck to all you guys, and we will see you next Thursday. Bye for now.